Welcome to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Real, taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way you can support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Lappin. I am Joseph Lappin. Hope you guys are having a good Sunday evening. Thanks for tuning in here to The Real. If you're new here, like I said, please like, subscribe, and share. I'd really appreciate that. Just tap the subscribe button. It's free. It only takes one time to do it. And hit the like button as well to help pump this show in the algorithm. I really appreciate that. Yeah, hope you guys are having a great day. Hope you guys had a great Christmas and Happy New Year to you guys. Can't wait for the Ohio State game this week on New Year's Day. Looking forward to that. But yeah, let's get into it. So the Browns, obviously, I'm not gonna really get into the game much today. I didn't really watch the game, to be honest with you, until the fourth quarter. I got home and turned it on. I'm not watching. I'm not wasting my time. I'd rather get out. It was a little warmer today, so I went out, got on the bike, and got some errands done. Got some stuff I wanted to do to get first to get done, and then once I got home, we got settled in. I said, all right, I'll check out the fourth quarter because people were texting me about it. And as soon as I turn it on, I see 2 intentional grounding penalties. So that was good. DTR, the DTR experiment. I think we all know the conclusion of that. Not hating on DTR, talented kid, but he's just not an NFL quarterback to me. He's too small, doesn't have the arm strength. He's just too small. I just need a 5th-round pick. So maybe he can be a backup, maybe a 3rd stringer, maybe a practice squad guy. He's just not a guy I see hitting the field anytime soon. Might be a nice kid. I'm sure he is a nice kid, but in terms of his performance and how he'll be in the NFL, the NFL. It's the highest level of football. He is not. I don't see him having a career, not really a long career either. So DTR, we know that the answer to that. We need to get into that. My only thing today as well, as somebody's already left the comment, Kevin Stefanski has no discipline for his players. And that's the main topic of tonight's show as a whole, because the news this week was from Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport that there's no indication that Jimmy Haslam's going to move on from Kevin Stefanski or Andrew Berry, and they're running it back, and they're going to run it back, right? And everybody in the media is telling you it was all the whole thing this season. 3-12, 13 season, no problem. Happens every so often. It was all Deshaun Watson's fault, and that's it. We're just going to run it back, and we'll fix it. We just need a quarterback. But when you watch this team, I mean, to lose to 20-3 at home to the Miami Dolphins, led by Mike McDaniels, is atrocious. I mean, the season was already bad. It's not even the fact that they lost the game, but they get blown out at home like that. And then, like he said there, when you watch the team they're the most penalized team in the league, pre-snap penalties. That's discipline. That starts with your culture. That's called bad culture. I know some people in the media are trying to say, well, we just have those kind of players that just, they just don't have good discipline. No, discipline starts with your culture. It starts with your environment, right? It starts with it's like in life in general. People that grow up in environments that aren't very disciplined, they turn out to be not so great, adults when they get older. Same thing with kids that grow up in more structured environments, are more held accountable, more disciplined. On a healthy balance, they end up being, a little more productive kids when they get older, or at least not, menaces to society. So, the Browns, they are just, they're insanity. They are the absolute definition of insanity if they run this back, because the definition of insanity is it's like doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Right. And we want to keep doing this experiment. And it's beyond Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. You guys know I've been staying on this show for months now. I did 2 shows on it, 3 hours worth of Paulie Podesta and his influence over Jimmy Haslam and this franchise, and how really this deep Podesta experiment. That's really what the experiment is. Since 2016, it's been an absolute failure, and he wants to keep running it back. He was asked about Paul Podesta, and he just slightly just put out there this back in August, because he has 1 year left on his deal, Podesta, and he's like, yeah, no big deal. Well, we all know we're gonna have Paul back here for a significant amount of time. We're gonna get that locked up, so we're not even gonna talk about it. So don't ask. You know, he'll be locked up. We'll make sure he gets locked up in here for the long term. And I'm thinking, why? Number one, what has this guy done to earn that? And number two, whatever he sold you on, this philosophy, this vision, that vision that I talked about in my previous shows, that plan, it's been an absolute failure. You went through one of the most talented eras in Browns football with Hall of Famers and Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett and guys like that, Denzel Ward, who's been a pretty good player. You had Baker Mayfield on your roster at one point. He looks like a solid NFL starter now. And you just wasted the whole roster. And you wasted the whole everything. It's over. I mean, Nick Chubb, he eventually, unfortunately, it was a catastrophic injury with him. And then obviously had the injury this year. Plus, he's also running back. We know their lifespans. Denzel Ward's getting older. Myles Garrett has made it very clear now. He's put his foot down, and I don't blame him that, he wants to see a plan or he may look elsewhere. What's your guys' plan? Or he's going to go somewhere else. And what is their plan? I don't know if they even have one. I don't know what their even philosophy is on game day, because not only that, it's a windy day here in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, obviously, it was 60 out. It was warmer, but it was still windy as hell all day. And the Browns decided to come out against the Miami Dolphins. So you would think the Browns would be the team that would have the advantage at home in shittier weather. You have you're at home field advantage. There's only $5 you can get to the game today if you wanted to go. It was that bad. I look at the rushing attempts, right? The Browns the Dolphins ran the ball 27 times today for 74 yards. The Browns ran the ball 28 times for 114 yards, 4.1 yards an average. So that's okay. That's not bad. But the Browns then threw the ball 47 times today for 3.4 yards an attempt. And the Dolphins threw the ball 26 times. And I just think your philosophy is, I heard there was a play at the end of the game. Again, I didn't see it. He decided for the field goal, and he could have went for it, or he could have ran it in and got too cute. And when I just look at that, you're putting DTR back there and having to throw the ball 47 times when you were only down really 10 points most of the game, maybe 7 at one point. That's terrible. I don't know what formula you're using. I don't know what vision you have or strategy or plan. You need to make another one just like it and throw them both in the trash. That's terrible. That is not. You're never going to win with that. And that's why I said today, do you really think the Cleveland Browns will ever win with this regime? And put in the comments, do you really think they'll ever win with this regime? And honestly, if you do, please leave it why you think so. And I'm not being a smart ass here, but I really want to know why you think they could be successful. And because I don't see it. I don't think their philosophy is good. I don't think they're founded in the right fundamentals of being a successful NFL franchise. I think they're far from that. I think the way they've been operating is an absolute disaster. It's why we're in the position we are. And I think this is a worse position than we were in 2016. Because at least in was it 2016, 2017, the 0-16 team. Because at least then we kind of knew what they were doing. It was Operation Stockpile. It was, get draft picks, and we knew they were intentionally losing, but you knew if they just nailed the picks, they'd be all right, right? This was worse because they went all in on a trade for Deshaun Watson. That was an absolute dumpster fire. And you look at the contract situation with that. Now, they restructured the other day, but they're still stuck with that contract. He's going to be on the roster for 2 more years. And then you just look at Myles Garrett coming out. All your core players are older now. Myles Garrett saying he might want to get out of here. They're in a worse spot. They're in a deeper hole. And I'd say they're in a deeper hole, too, because at least back then, eventually John Dorsey came in, who was a football mind, or at least could scout football talent. I don't see that in our building right now. Andrew Berry might be a nice guy, but I really question Andrew Berry's ability to evaluate talent. I don't know who has the final say on draft date. Is it Mr. Homeboy there, San Diego, right there on the screen? Whoever's evaluating the talent, making the final decision, whatever their processes are, it's not good. We've missed on a lot of draft picks in the last 4 or 5 years. I know some people are overrating some guys. Listen, a lot of our draft picks have been garbage. There's just, and I'm not saying the players are garbage. I think a lot of it is they're poorly developed. That's my critique of Kevin Stefanski. My biggest critique of Kevin Stefanski, outside of the discipline aspect with the penalties, I just don't see the culture of development either. Especially in a market like Cleveland, your draft picks are so key. You're not getting guys here in free agency left and right like some of these other markets. You have to draft and develop these guys. Guys don't just walk out on the field like people think and just turn into mega stars and let's just throw him out there, and if he's not good, that means he stinks. No, you what's your culture? What's your structure like? That's why when Baker Mayfield left, and once he left the Browns, went to another crappy organization, the Panthers, got cut from there, kind of hit rock bottom, or did hit rock bottom in his career. And then once he finally found some stability and structure and people that know how to develop people, just not only quarterbacks, but just players in general, now you see he's thriving, and his confidence got back. Confidence got rebuilt. He bought in, and he matured more. I know people talk about that. Well, Baker said he even had to mature more. Yes, but he matured more once he found the right environment, the right structure. Right? It's like I help people with anxiety all the time. I went through it myself. You have to have the right structure around you and in place for you to heal, for you to grow. If you don't, you're just going to end up in the same problem. And that's what if Baker Mayfield would have still been the Browns quarterback, if he would have stayed in Cleveland, his career would have been dead. He'd been a waste of talent. He wouldn't be the guy he is right now, killing it down there in Tampa and having a pretty good career for himself, making $100 million. Salute to him. And we blew that. And you know what this all reminds me of? Actually, we'll get to this point real quick, too. What also came out this week was Mike Vrabel. And I'm going to bring up Mike Vrabel's name. We brought up here before. I know some people may roll their eyes right now. Here he goes with the Vrabel stuff again. Well, why was it reported that Mike Vrabel for the last month, and it just got out now, Mike Vrabel has been the one coaching the O-lineman for the last month and a half or so. The offensive line play was so bad that, hey, Vrabes, can you go down there and coach the O-lineman? And so the reason why I bring up Mike Vrabel's name is if you're having this guy go down there and coach the O-lineman, if you're having this guy be a consultant for your head coach all year, if this guy's sitting in a lot of different things in the organization, why not just make him the guy? Why are you why you're going to let this guy leave the building and know all the connections he has here? He's from here. We're going to let him leave and go somewhere else to be successful because we want to hang on to this. And it reminds me, this will be my last point. It reminds me of, you go back to 2018, right? Let's rewind 6 years ago, shall we? And let's talk about the Cavs and the Browns. Why'd I bring up the Cleveland Cavaliers? Well, in 2018, LeBron James left and went to the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Cavs were in hell. They were deep in the luxury tax, didn't have many draft picks. They went all in for those LeBron years, which it worked. They got the championships, right? Didn't have really many young core pieces. They had the Colin Sexton pick, had a lot of old guys that didn't want to be here, and they were in a complete rebuild. And at that time, the Cleveland Browns had just drafted Baker Mayfield, had Myles Garrett, had Denzel Ward, had a young up-and-coming team, right? And you go to the end of 2018, let's go to December of 2018, shall we? 6 years ago from this date. The Cleveland Browns were coming off that season where Baker looked good in the second half of the season with Greg Williams as the interim head coach and Freddie Kitchens as the OC. Remember, they fired Hugh Jackson. And a lot of people coming out of that season around this time 6 years ago, a lot of people said, man, the Browns are on the up. They're up and coming. They got young stars. If they just put it all together, they can really be a real legit team for the next 5 years, maybe contend for a Super Bowl finally, right? And the Cavs at that time were abysmal that year. They were terrible. They were, I think, a 19-win team that year. And a lot of people said locally and nationally that the Cavs, they were in a 5 to 10 year rebuild. That it's going to take them 5 to 10 years to rebuild. It's going to be it's going to be terrible years. I hope you enjoyed the last 4 years because don't expect anything good for the next 5 years. And it's funny when you fast forward 6 years later, look where each franchise is. The Browns are the team that look like they're in the rebuild for the last 5 to 10 years, for the last 5 years. And the Cavs are now did they define all those, defeat all those criticisms, but they also look like a championship contender. They're the best team in the league right now. I mean, they just went into Denver the other night and absolutely just mopped them. I mean, that's never happened in a long time. I mean, this team is for real. And so much so that Donovan Mitchell wanted to re-sign when everybody said he was going to leave. But what did the Cavs do that the Browns didn't? See, the Cavs, they had draft picks. They made smart trades, but they developed their talent properly, got in the right coach for the development, JB Bickerstaff. But then when the time was up, right, when JB was also in contention for Coach of the Year one year, everybody likes Coach of the Year, so Kevin Stefanski. Well, JB Bickerstaff almost won Coach of the Year, I believe, in, was it 2021, 22, when they had a really nice season, made the playoffs, snuck in, surprised everybody. And JB Bickerstaff it looked like a hot coach. I mean, he was in the Coach of the Year contention. Everybody was saying how great he is. Look what he's doing in Cleveland. And it was remarkable, right? But what did the Cavs do? They got aggressive more. They went out and got Donovan Mitchell. And then once they went out and got Donovan Mitchell, made a big trade like that, they came back to next season, and they realized after the end of that next season, they realized JB Bickerstaff, okay, he can get them to the playoffs, which they did, but they lost to the Knicks. So they ran it back one more year, right? They were basically on a 2 to 3 year window, just like the Browns been for the last couple of years with this Deshaun Watson stuff. And then they come back this past season, not this year, but the season before. They get past the first round, but they lose to the Celtics. Now, a lot of people could have said, well, they played the Celtics. Maybe they just got to grow up more. But here's what happened. Their star player, Donovan Mitchell, kind of made it very clear that, listen, if you don't make some changes that we the players see as necessary, because we're in the locker room every day, we kind of know what needs to happen. I don't know if I'll re-sign, but I want to re-sign here, right? Just like Myles Garrett the other day, the past couple weeks. I don't want to leave Cleveland. I like Cleveland, but I want to see a plan, because really what Myles is saying is, I don't believe in what we're doing, right? Or look at the results. But what did the Cavs do? They said, you know what, JB, you're a really good coach. We thank you for all you did. You were great for what we needed at that time, but he's just not the guy to get us over the hump to where we need to be. The Cavs didn't make a single roster move this past offseason outside of drafting a player to add in through the draft, which is natural. They didn't make a single roster move. They just brought in Kenny Atkinson, and now look at him, a coach that was able to get them over the hump. It was able to make the players better, and development's better. The development of the whole team is better. Everything's just better. Evan Mobley looks like a up-and-coming superstar now. Remember last year, people said, maybe is this guy not a unicorn? He's not going to be that guy. Now you see he is that guy. He always was that guy. He just needed the right coach to come in there and take him to the next level. So did the team. And Donovan Mitchell re-signed a contract for the long term as well. But the Browns, they got a guy, Mike Vrabel, in the building who's clearly he is a good coach. If you're calling him down to come help your O-line coach, Miller, you paid your O-line coach. This is the guy you replaced Bill Callahan with, by the way. And hey, Vrabes, you need to go down and help this guy because he's not doing that good. The guy we hired is doing that shitty of a job. But hey, Vrabes, we're gonna let you walk out of the building, and thanks for everything. We're gonna keep running back with this stuff here, and keep losing. And as long as we make the playoffs every so often, get our playoff revenue for the stadium we want, that's all that matters, right? Right, Jimmy? Is that what it's all about? It's just that stadium that nobody gives a shit about anymore, that you still don't really have the money for either. But you keep putting out, the Browns keep pumping out these photos every day of this Brook Park Stadium that nobody really gives a shit about anymore because the team's going to suck. It's insanity. One franchise, the Cavs, did it the right way, right? If I'm Jimmy Haslam, I'm gonna go sit with Dan Gilbert this offseason and learn from him how to run an organization. Clearly, he's doing something right. He knows how to spend the money, which Jimmy has shown he will do. I'll give Jimmy that. He will spend the money. But yeah, you could spend all the money you want, but are you spending it in the right direction? Do you have the right people involved? Like, are you spending are you hiring the right people? Are you spending that money, towards the right things that'll help you be successful? Because clearly we're not. We're spending it in the wrong direction. And whoever's in his ear, if it's homeboy there, which I think he is, a lot of it, then you need to get some new advice. Go sit with Dan Gilbert, maybe. And if you want to run it back with this regime, whatever they got you sold on, I don't get it. They've had 5 years. 5 years is a long time. They've had 5 seasons to show you what they can do. And here we are. At the end of it, we're 3-13. Right? Yeah. Probably we'll be 3-14 next week. You're a 3-win team. You're gonna be top 3 in the draft. And with a top 3 pick, do we want these guys making the pick? I don't. And do we trust that player to come in here and actually get developed properly? I don't see it. Well, that's my opening monologue, but it's just my gosh, what a time to be a Browns fan. That's for sure. A sad time, really. Kevin Stefanski has no discipline for his players. Perrin John, nice to see you. Well, we as fans need to stop caring about caring. That's what. Wait, excuse me. Hold on, my screen's a little messed up. Oh, excuse. We as fans need to stop caring. That's when it will. Why is Jimmy so obsessed with DePodesta? I have no idea. Must have some dirt on him or so. I don't know. Allegedly, I'm just speculating. But dude didn't crap in any sports. Jimmy, wake the hell up. Tori, nice to see you. Oh no, I think the next 5 years they fire Kevin after week 5 and 0-5, and I hope not. Which is terrible. Why not just fire the guy now? You know what I mean? Why would you wait till next season to waste another year and then hey, we're gonna fire you then? Now you're really pissed off some guys. Jennifer, good to see you. Exactly. Well put about Mayfield. Yeah. I definitely love to get Mike Vrabel as our head coach. I would love that as well. I'm a star of that. We need to start the Mike Vrabel train. Jimmy Haslam keeps Kevin another year. It will be wasted again. Kevin not good. He lost the locker room. I totally agree with that. I think the guys like Kevin, but I don't know if they are all bought in. And I think they know Kevin's an extension of the upstairs. Because Kevin really should be standing up to some of this stuff all year, and he hasn't. So you start to lose respect with guys over the season goes on. Great organizations talk with their franchise pillars. We better have a plan, or Miles wants a ticket to Dallas, Texas to become a Cowboy. Looks like it's heading that way. I hate to say it. I got some comments too. What Miles made the other day. That's pretty alarming. Dan has learned not to get involved. That's the key thing. When LeBron left, it changed him to the core. Yeah, and I think Dan Gilbert's always been ahead of the game. He's always been a smart guy. He's made mistakes here and there, but he's always corrected the mistakes. And he went all in and got it done when it needed to be done, and he got the championship done. And I think this time around with this new team they have since LeBron left again for LA, I think Dan Gilbert just went about it the right way. He made the right hires. He stayed out of it. He let the people he hired do their job. He's a great resource for whoever they need. And I think Dan Gilbert's seeing the fruits of that labor. And I think you do it the right way, you see the results. And I think he's also very aggressive too in a smart way, which I like about Dan Gilbert. I think Dan Gilbert's a great owner. He said, I don't want them picking it. Yeah, I don't either. I don't know who does. If you want them picking that pick, I really question if you know the game of football. But no offense. Jersey, you there?
Yep.
I need a break. I got a long rant I just got off of, so I'll let you take over. What's your thoughts on the everything I said?
That's exactly what it is. It's I mean, it's just gone on so long. I mean, it's insanity for everybody. Even the fans, we keep watching and we keep going to games. We keep thinking it's going to change. It just doesn't change. It's just this is crazy. I mean, you came home from the hospital when the Browns came back in 1999. You came back from the hospital, and your entire life they have never been good. It's just. And I just thought of that. It's absolutely crazy, and it's just no different. I mean, watching a game, right? You know, if you watch a game now, it's the same as watching a game in 03, 04, 07. Same vibe. It's just a shame. This is what the Cleveland fans been given for so long. So many players just absolutely ruined. Quarterbacks ruined. I just hope the fans are just finally enough of the fans have had enough of the shit, and it kind of and just bail out on them and kind of force a change. And and here, that stuff where they might leave. Who gives a shit? I mean, if you're not watching them, I mean, if a product is so bad that you're not watching them, do you really care that they leave? I mean, we're going on. We're 25 years in. Now, I know there's been two different owners, but 25 years of the same bullshit. And people are worried about them leaving. I really don't care if they leave. Get the hell out. I mean, if you're not gonna, if you're not gonna put out a different product, but again, do they know how to put out a different product? I mean, did we replace one terrible owner with another bad owner? Um, it's just bad. Here, tickets are going. You couldn't even sell tickets for $6. I sent a text out today, and I wasn't bullshitting. If they told me I will pay you $500 to go up to this stadium and watch this game, we'll give you all your food, free parking, hell, we'll even drive you up in a limousine, I still wouldn't have went. I wouldn't have went. We'll put you in a loge, nice and warm, no wind. We'll give you all the apparel you want. I still wouldn't have went. I wouldn't have went to the end of my damn driveway for $500 and watch them play. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. And and it's just like it's already setting up for the same shit next year. Bring no changes, same people in the front office. And you're right about Stefanski. That's the biggest problem with Stefanski. He is an extension of them. He's not a player's coach. He's just an extension of those guys, and that's why he's always got the same bullshit excuses after every game. It's like listening to a broken record. The same responses. He doesn't. That guy. He's one of those guys that knows that front office could be horribly wrong, and he just will never say anything. Just wants to keep his job. So it's terrible.
I've never seen an owner too. Have you ever seen somebody get so hoodwinked and so bought into one guy as he has a Paulie Podesta? I mean, at
I don't
some
know what.
point, it's like at some point, when do you just say enough? Like it's not working after almost 10 years.
I don't know what. It's just really bizarre. I mean, the guy's a damn billionaire. He's had to do something right. He can't be an idiot, I mean, he's got a massive company. I just don't understand the fascination with this Di Podesta. I mean,
And a lot of people in the media, they won't even talk about it. But they're the same people that come out there and say, "Oh, they got this great plan," and just wait fans. And it's almost like the media. A lot of people in the media now are extension of this crap too, which we know that. We're not gonna say any names. People online and in the media on YouTube as well. You know who you are. You're just an
the same
extension
ones I
for
was
them.
calling out last week.
Yeah, they come out and they try to tell you this shit, and they always try to tell you the same old script that the Browns media people want out. They just tell them what they want out, and they just put it out there. And so I don't get it. I don't. I mean, nobody will question this guy. I mean, these are the same people that I guess I heard somebody say today that the Browns back at training camp had a report out, and then all the media people, these media people said the best quarterback at that camp was DTR. He was the best guy at training camp this past summer. We should have shut down a season right then and there if that was true. That means you got the worst quarterback room in the league by far.
Right. My gosh. Unbelievable. It's just
I don't get it. Yeah, it's just like it's like he said. Why do we fire John Dorsey? Why? Well, we basically pushed John Dorsey out the door because he didn't want to go with Paulie Podesta's shit. So he left. I would have left too.
I think we've all just
We had one good thing. It was him. I agree.
in all these years, it's been the same culprits in the media that they act like they're journalists for the people, but no, they really just work for the Browns. And we've all been fallen victim to all the lies and the propaganda and the narratives, and nobody questioning these owners, these executives. It's just amazing. 25 years of this bullshit. So much money spent, just especially in the last 5 years. And I mean, they might be at a point where they really do start to lose fans. Like the fandom actually starts to shrink. They've
We're gonna
always
lose
been
a
so
generation of that next generation of fans. They're losing them in
right,
masses.
right. I mean, the people don't even watch. I mean, it was look at the weather today, how lousy it was, and nobody still watched. Nobody watched.
Oh, I'm out on the bike, and you're out, and you can see in people's living rooms, and you're going by, just because the windows are open, and I'm just
Yeah,
going by, and I'm peeking, and I saw so many people with Browns flags in their yard usually, because I go by these people all the time with the Vikings game on. They're not even watching the Browns. The
oh
Minnesota
yeah,
Vikings and the Green Bay Packers game made more money off of Browns fans today than the Browns did themselves.
right. I was there were family members that were watching, and that person's a huge Browns fan, and they were watching that same game. Hell, I went to go see The Lion King. I mean, I'm not even, which was a great movie, by the way. But I mean,
You're
normally
not
I
a
would
big
sit and
Disney
watch.
movie guy. Yeah.
No, I'm not. But I wasn't watching the Cleveland Browns play football, or try to play football at least, or pretend. So, I
Yeah, we
mean,
didn't miss
it's
out on much.
not even for $6 tickets. Get the hell out of here. And here it would have been a kind of a good day to go to a game too. I mean, it was 60 something degrees.
We were supposed to play at night tonight.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be this is the original Sunday night game scheduled for the season. Imagine what it would have been like tonight if we were in playoff contention and going to Sunday night football. How much fun that would have been tonight. We probably would have called the game play by play. Or hell, we might have been at the game.
Oh, I would have been at the game.
Nope. He said Jimmy threw him to the Lions, literally, no pun intended. Yeah, he did. Guys, I just turned 25 today. Happy birthday, Parham my whole life the Browns have sucked, and yet I am still supporting them. Is it me or them? Well, I think you've just
It's
been a loyal
them.
fan like all of us, but it is them. Yeah, it's them. And I think, like you said, Jersey, a couple minutes ago, we've all fallen victim to this propaganda and this crap that's been put out for all these years. And now we're starting to see what the real problem is.
Right. It's just, and people are just, I think people are just finally getting sick of it. It's been so long. You can only go through that cycle so many times. Okay, well, we're gonna reload, revamp, rebuild the team. You can only go through it so many times and fall short, just fall flat on your face, dupe the fans. You can only do it for so long. You know what I mean?
And
It's
I
like,
don't. What's the fix this offseason? This team isn't a fix away. They're not a quarterback away. Like they got many, many holes. And number one starts on the sideline in the front office first. The people running the show. That's the first order needs to be addressed. And then the product itself on the field, the players, they're not a player away. They're not a quarterback away. They're the,
no.
they're not the Steelers last year where we got Russell Wilson and we turned it around this year. They're not even close to that. Number one, the Steelers have Mike Tomlin, so stop it. People saying that crap. It's a Pittsburgh Steelers organization, first class, one of the best in all sports. The Browns aren't even close to that. Not even in their dreams. And the Browns, they're not set up to bring. They're not that kind of team this year. They're way behind. This roster is terrible. And number one, they don't have this foundation to just bring in guys like the Steelers do, and maybe that'll help turn them around because their foundation sucks.
Well, that's just it. I don't really care. I'll be here and watching Peyton Manning on a commercial right now. I mean, if you could put him in his prime on this team right now, and it would still be a mess because of everything around him, the front office, bad coaching. It's just not a quarterback away. I've never seen a great quarterback see but long careers have terrible coaching and be part of terrible organizations.
Yeah, they're not
You
eating
don't,
good seeds in bad soil.
yeah, it just doesn't happen. So you can't skip. Well, we're just a quarterback away. No, we're not a quarterback away. We're much more. We're uh, a whole front office away, a whole culture away, possibly a whole coach away, the whole coaching staff. I mean, you have to get all that in order before you start to get players. So, we're not a quarterback away. We've been saying we're a quarterback away for 25 freaking years.
All right,
And
what's
what
the
has
real
it been?
problem?
Almost 40 quarterbacks? We're a quarterback away. I mean, you could put Patrick Mahomes out there, and I mean, he's good enough to make them a tad bit better, but eventually it just would go to, it wouldn't work.
His
It's
career
just
would
more than a
deteriorate.
quarterback. The game is more than a quarterback. I mean, obviously, a quarterback's the most important position in all sports, but it's more than the quarterback. You just don't see teams with terrible cultures or lacking cultures or no coaching to go on and win playoff games and Super Bowls. You never seen it happen, and you never will. You can't get through a season and through the gauntlet of the playoffs and play that kind of competition and win with a horrible culture and horrible coaching. It just doesn't happen. So it's much more just a quarterback. We're a quarterback away. Whoever says that is excusing these
Mediocrity.
people that, yeah, these people that have been a part of this shit for over a decade now. I mean, it's been almost a decade. I mean, how can you excuse it? They've never been good, ever. They've never been good. So how can you just say, well, we're just a quarterback away?
Well, these are the same people that thought
Open your
DTR was
eyes.
the best. No, they thought their eyes told them that DTR was the best quarterback at camp. Number one, I really question some of these people's ability to evaluate talent. Number one, no offense, but
Yeah, who
please
said that?
give
That's
me a break. Yeah, whoever said that really needs to stop. They need to just retire, um, or just come out and tell you the truth. What you're really doing. Um, and number two, it's like you said. I mean, well, they just keep going along with this shit, and they act like it's so great. We're just a quarterback away. I mean, I think they like this regime. They like these guys because they actually, you know why? Because like you've always said, they identify with them, so
just
it makes
it.
them feel more comfortable. You know, what I mean, it makes us sound good and sound smart, and we're getting all the ratings on YouTube, and rigging the algorithms, and we have good relationships with these guys, and it's just great. We don't want to start over. I mean, it's just great, but I mean, you're selling a 3-1 team. It sounds terrible what you're putting out there. People actually look through it. It sounds, I mean, it's terrible. Doesn't make any sense.
No. So
I don't get it.
it's
Everything needs to get cleaned out. Didn't work. Just get over with it. Yeah, I hope Jimmy Haslam's taking notes. Does Jimmy Haslam do shrooms before he watches the game? I don't think he sees what we see each Sunday. I guess not. By the way, what did you think of the Mike Vrabel thing where they said Vrabel is coaching the O lineman for the last month and a half, and that just all of a sudden just got put out there at the end of the week?
well, if I could take a guy that I could just and actually, I mean, I guess a little bit the games I did watch in the last month, the O line looked better than it did previously. I mean, I obviously haven't watched today but hell, I think whatever game, I think that game where it snowed like hell, that's probably about when he took over. And the O line played really well that night.
Mm-hmm.
And but here, if I got a guy that I can just plug in any position and start coaching, and there's improvement, I mean, why isn't that guy coaching? You know what I mean? I mean, it's
Right.
so freaking bizarre. What is this whole thing? Just doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
It don't even seem like it's legit. Like it's almost like you think they're just doing it on purpose. It's so unordinary and so stupid. You just can't believe they're actually doing it. It's like, are they tanking again? Are they sabotaging it deliberately? I mean, it's mind boggling. I mean, you don't even have to be part of a professional organization. So you can just be an average guy and just sit back and just say, it just doesn't make sense. Like what they got going on, it just does not make sense. So it, I don't know what, I mean, it's all I know is here. I don't even know. As much as I love the NFL draft, it's my favorite sporting event that there is. I mean, I don't even know if I'd watch that next year. I mean, I'd watch it, but I wouldn't have any interest in the Browns. And these idiots might have the first pick.
Who do you think they'd take?
I don't. It's here. Shador Sanders isn't going to go there.
Well, he ain't coming here. That's gonna be a whole
No, that's what I'm
fiasco if that
saying.
happens.
They'll probably have to trade down out of it.
Yeah,
You know
he
what I
ain't
mean?
coming here. Right now they have the third pick, and I believe the two teams in front of them. Let me pull it up here. Are because the Giants lost today. Right now, the Browns have the third pick, the Titans have the second pick, and the Patriots have the first overall pick. The Raiders are at 8, and the Giants fell all the way to 4 today, behind the Browns.
I have no idea. The question is any player going to want to go there? I mean, you might get every guy that says, I'm
Well,
not
and
going to Cleveland.
the Patriots aren't taking a quarterback. They got Drake May. The Titans may, but I don't know for sure. Shador Sanders said something this week too. He said, I don't know if it actually he's joking around, but he said something like where he was going to play next year. He was joking around at practice with his brother, because they record everything.
Yeah.
And he said, "You'll see in the cleats on Sunday or on the game Saturday. We'll give a hint where maybe I'm going." And the cleats are just black and white. I mean, they look like Colorado colors, but I don't know if he actually had other cleats on. Maybe switched out at halftime. I got to go back and look, but. I mean, there's always been links between him and the Raiders because I don't see him going to Tennessee either, but I think he wants to be a top pick. So it's like if this order stays as is, because the Giants, I don't know what the hell the Giants are doing today. Unless they should have lost really, because I think if the Giants still have number 1 pick, he'd be going to New York for sure. I think it's always been the Raiders or the Giants. Those are the two, New York New York market, or all the connections he has with the Raiders. But it's like he's not going to the Patriots. I don't think he's not going to Tennessee. But I'm sure they want to be a top 3 pick because you get the most money and it looks good on the resume. Plus, he's a quarterback. I mean, could they trade down? I mean, could the Raiders call up to the Browns like, "Hey, we'll give you this massive package. Come up there to 3 because we want to take him." He's going to force his way there. I mean, I don't know where this goes in the draft now. What do the Browns do? They stay there? I mean, I don't know if you're taking Travis Hunter either because he might pull the same thing. He's in the same boat as the people running with Shador, helping Shador out. So I don't know. I don't. I mean, it's gonna be a bizarre draft. That's for sure. Or an interesting one.
So I'm any player. Why would I want to go here? Like,
or what if Shador Sanders sits down with the Browns at the combine next month, right? And just like Myles Garrett said, he goes, "What's your plan, number 1?" But also, what if he says, "I'll come there, but you got to get this. You got to make X, Y, and Z the guy. Maybe Mike Vrabel. I don't know." What if they try to make what they want? What if they present the Browns a plan that they would like to come? Like, we'll come there, but this is what we would like to see. Would Jimmy do it, or would you just? No, I'm sticking with with the Geek Squad. F minus. That's a great. That's what. And by the way, I put F minus up here. That's the regime grade. F minus.
I don't think they want him. I really think he's trying to make the run for Arch Manning in 2 years. I think
Oh,
that,
so
and
you think
that's
he's
why
just
they
going all in for
and that.
Arch Manning?
Oh, I think he's all in on Arch Manning. Absolutely. I read an article. Somebody close wrote an article about that too. I read it earlier in the week. I mean, that's probably why they've restructured Watson so they can make sure he's there, get through the next 2 years. I'm telling you, it's the Arch Manning thing, and he's probably going to try his. Obviously he's close to Peyton Manning, and I just don't. Why the hell?
Why would they want to come here though?
Right. Why would they want to come here?
Who the Mannings like? They like Vrabel.
Well, yeah. I mean, the idea of the new stadium coming. I mean, Peyton played up in the Midwest. You know what I mean? And so, I guess it seems unlikely, but you see stranger shit. So I don't know. It just depends on, what do they give this kid? What do they give his family? What do they, how tight is Haslam with all of them? Who the hell knows? But I think there's no, even if Shador Sanders was there, they're not going to take him. I think they're trying for Arch Manning.
Well, I think Arch is the better prospect personally, but
Well,
I mean, I
yeah,
love Arch Manning. I think Arch Manning's going to be a great player. I think he's going to be one of the better prospects we've seen, maybe since Andrew Luck, when he gets there. But
if Jimmy Haslam is, it ain't like Arch Manning is some kid. He's just got some dad that was a crane operator, or that just got regular parents that are unknown and shit. I mean, this is the Mannings. You know what I mean? It's football royalty.
yeah, they're going to make
For
you money.
Jimmy Haslam to, if he's really all in to try to draft this kid in 2 years, something's led him to believe that he has the opportunity to draft this kid. You know what I mean?
But like he says here, Arch Manning, we have to build a team up before he comes here. But they're not building a team up with this current regime. But he's also saying that we're going to bring him back. So it doesn't all make sense. It doesn't add up.
I don't know what the hell. I just think that's the quarterback prospect. That's
Well, I
that's
do
what.
too. But I think he. I mean, I get the connections. But I agree with, like you just said it too. Like you got, like he just said, you got to build this team up for in the next 2 years. I mean, they're gonna the Mannings will have, they don't need the Browns. They'll have options. You know
No.
what I mean? So the Browns need him, and if the Browns want him. They got to really put a plan together. Or we want anybody that's competent and worth it. I mean, they got to really look presentable. They're not presentable. I don't know any player. I mean, it's like that. The report that came out, the survey that came out 3 years ago in the Athletic from amongst NFL agents, it said that one of the persons in the least amount of in the part where it says the person you trust the least in the industry in the NFL, one on there was Paulie Podesta.
Yeah.
So
My gosh. And this is the guy. That's like having a. It's like having a dealership and having a GM that everybody in the industry hates. He's They don't trust the guy. They don't. You know what I mean? It's like you could never get good employees if you have a terrible. You know what I mean? Why do you have this guy in there? Because if every agent's weary of you, every player's weary of you, and you're the least trusted guy, I wouldn't want that guy. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. I think the first thing they'd probably have to do is to start to shore up their O line, build their O line up in the next 2 years, first and foremost. But not a question is like who would they draft this year? Like
well,
it's
I
not
mean, I
going to be a
think
quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I think Travis Hunter. If the Patriots stay at 1, I think he'll go number 1 overall to the Patriots. So I think he'll be off the board. They're sitting there number 2 would be Tennessee. I think they might take a quarterback, but they don't. They probably would take either Mason Graham or Abdul Carter, the top 2 defensive guys. And I think the Browns will probably get one of those 2 guys, whoever falls. Probably the
I
best
think
defensive player.
I think they'll trade it out to Raiders so they can take
Well,
Sanders.
I got a scenario I'm gonna tell you though in a second. When I read this, he goes, I mean, we had Jonah Hill coaching our O line. Who the heck was that dude? Oh, Andy Dickerson. Seattle O line always sucked. Yeah, I thought Andy Dickerson would be a little better, but it hasn't worked out. I mean, but I don't know how anybody can be good in this environment, to be honest with you, especially the way they set it up. Best case for these clowns is we draft Travis Hunter, get Sam Darnold, beef up the O lines. I'm gonna go back to that in a second. Definitely keep Jim Schwartz as their defensive coordinator. Yeah, I think Jim Schwartz will be fine going forward. I think everybody's just having a shitty year because it's just that bad. Arch Manning, we have to build up the team before he comes. I already read that. Arch is a freak that has wheels and an arm. I'm not throwing Arch out there with this roster. We need to rebuild the whole O line. Yeah, like you just mentioned. I'm not even playing him rookie year. Let him sit and learn. I agree with that. I love Pete Carroll to be our head coach. Hi guys. Hey, what's up, Wahoo fan? This whole organization is huge trash heap. Yeah, it's a great way to put it. I hope the one guy's here tonight too. He always puts they're just straight ass. Hope Joe.
Bro.
No, not Roe. Shout out to Roe. I don't know where he's at tonight. I can't remember his name. I should know that. We got so many viewers now too. We're regulars. I love you guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. But I like this one too about Pete Carroll. You see, Pete Carroll said he's willing to come back. He's talking about the Bears possibly. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I think he might go to college too, if the right team comes to him. Belichick down the road.
Well, going back to I read a thing yesterday that the Vikings want to give Darnold a long-term contract.
Well,
The
that's
basis,
was
the
going to
article
be
was,
my.
but
Well, that
JJ
was going to
McCarthy possibly going
yeah.
to Cleveland.
Well, that was what I was going to bring up to you next. What if we trade out to, let's say, the Raiders, right? We get a lot of drafted capital back, right? So now we
Yeah.
have the eighth pick. We'll stay at 8. But what if we use some of that draft capital and maybe go after JJ McCarthy? I
Oh, I'd
think that
rather.
actually, because I think the Arch Manning thing's still a long shot. Because I just don't see them coming here right now the way we are. But I think if you can get a guy who I think everybody liked last year, I think he'd be the number 1 overall pick this year by far. He'd be the best quarterback, don't you think? He'd be the best
Oh
quarterback
yeah,
this year.
like
Yeah, it wouldn't even be close.
absolutely.
I thought.
Yeah,
I mean, there was some people thought he was the best last year in that class. So
I thought he was.
yeah, I mean, he looked great in that game he played too. Before he got hurt, he looked really good. I like the kid a lot. I think he's gonna be a great player. I think he'll bounce back from the injury and do well. I think he's just that kind of kid and that hell of a talent. I think that might be their best path to get a quarterback is to get JJ McCarthy. And maybe if you trade down to those, like you said, the Raiders come up get Shador, so you get more capital and assets. You can use some of that and put it into that trade and get McCarthy.
Yeah, I would want him over anybody. Over. Yeah, I mean he's better quarterback Shador. I mean I felt like he was the best quarterback last year, and I think that guy's gonna. I've said it. I think he's gonna be a Hall of Famer. I think he's gonna have that kind of career.
Well, you think that
He,
highly of him?
yeah, I've always said that. The dude just has it. He's an NFL quarterback, and I just think if he can get in the right spot. Now that's the other thing. Does he come here and get ruined? But no, I think JJ McCarthy is that kind of quarterback. The dude just has it. He's just a pure NFL quarterback. He just has the
Yeah, all the intangibles.
yeah. He's got all the leadership. I mean,
He's
he's
got a hell
just
of an arm talent too.
yeah, and he's also just he's the dude just has the likability factor too. I mean, he's the household name. So, but could he if he ever landed here in Cleveland? Would he be able to have a successful career? Would he just become damaged goods like the rest of them?
I would have felt better if Alex Van Pelt was still here. I thought he did a nice job with quarterbacks, but we fired him.
Right.
I would take JJ McCarthy over any QB on the Browns team. I totally agree. He should be available for a trade now that the Vikings have Sam Darnold playing well. Yeah, totally. I mean, Darnold had almost 400 yards today and 3 touchdowns. I mean, they're not letting him go. He's only 27, so he's still pretty young. I mean, they got to lock him up. I will forgive JJ for what he did to OSU if he leads Browns to the promised land. I totally agree. I'll get me a jersey. Shit.
Well, yeah. If people didn't think about that, that guy beat OSU twice. I mean, he
Well, just watch that national championship run. I mean, how clutch he was, how poised he was. Just had the it factor.
right.
Because I mean, I had some criticisms of him before that season. Just I wanted to see more from him. I just think, but when more you watch them, that it was really just they just played to their strengths. They ran the ball more because that was just their biggest strength. Yeah, that line was badass they had that year. But when he threw the ball more at times, he still was great. He could make all the throws. He was a 5-star kid coming out. I mean, he can make every throw. He can sit in the pocket. He can roll him out of the pocket. He can go in the gun. He can go under center. He showed every little bit of everything, and he was well coached and developed and properly in college as well with Harbaugh.
Right. Yep. So
Um, I think JJ could be really good with the right team and coaching staff. Yeah, totally. I totally agree with that.
Well, that's the key, you know. So no reason to bring him here if he's got the wrong people around him. Just doing the kid of the service.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that's our best path because I think we got to get a quarterback this offseason. That we all agree with that. Ideally, you want to get a guy at a rookie deal. Now, this quarterback class coming out, it's not great. I don't think it's one of the worst I've seen, maybe the worst I've seen in a long time. I mean, Shador Sanders, I think, is the best of them. I think he'll be okay, but there's still critiques in his game. I think he's got to get better in some areas, but I think he is the best quarterback. Cam Ward has a lot of upside, but he misses way too many layups. Number one, he always tries to go for the big play, and I have a big problem with what Cam Ward did yesterday in that bowl game. I don't know if you saw that jersey. Miami was in their bowl game, and Cam Ward broke the record for like the most touchdowns thrown in a season in college history or something like that. And so what he did was he played the first half to break the record and then sat out the rest of the game while his team was out there trying to win the bowl game.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you should have just not played at all. Then
Should have
you
just
know what I
not
mean. If
played
you're
at
gonna,
all.
yeah, if you're gonna, if you're gonna start the game and play the game, you got to finish it. Otherwise, just don't play. If you didn't play, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, if
I
you
wouldn't
didn't
have any
play, I
problem
wouldn't
with
have
it.
cared. But to go out there just to break the record, an individual record all about you, and number one, you wouldn't have broke the record if it wasn't for your O line and the receivers. Number one, the guys that caught the passes and the guys that held the blocks for you. So did those guys get to sit out the rest of the game too? Or is this just the new coddled culture, selfish mentality culture that we have now? He's just worried about protecting his money, which I get. You want to protect your money, but that to me that's just that's a slap in the face to your teammates that you went to battle with all year. I mean, I could never imagine doing that. I mean, I even went back when I had that stuff going on when I was in high school and I was going through this bad anxiety disorder. It was either I felt bad even some of the days I had to sit out because of what I was going through, but I was still out there trying to play because I didn't know a lot of those guys well, but I had
Yeah.
respect for my teammates. But when I got to the point where it was a problem and I couldn't go anymore, I just left. You know what I mean? It's like I removed myself from the situation because it was the best thing for myself and for the team and for everybody involved. But this is a lot differently. I mean, you like either play or don't play. Like be all in or be all out. I don't agree
Well,
with.
yeah, and the other thing is, if the ball game's not that important, then what you should have used it to break a record.
Yeah, and I bring all that stuff about my past for me because I just look at it differently. I mean, that's how you raised me. You know, what I mean, you be respectful to what you're doing, and you go all in for it. You commit to something, you're gonna finish it. You know what I
Right.
mean? You commit to it, and if you can't, then you just unless you physically can't, which I couldn't anymore, then that's when you leave and you just move on, and everybody else can move on, and it's not a problem. But don't disrespect the game. Don't disrespect your teammates. Don't be a. I mean, that's terrible. To me, he's off my draft board because of that. I thought that stuff
Well,
by Ward was selfish. I totally agree.
here's the other thing. Shador Sanders played to the very end,
And they
and
have
they
the
were
same
getting their
quarterback
asses
coach.
beat. And they were getting their asses beat. And the kids still played to the very end. And this
And they
asshole Cam Ward couldn't play.
and they
The
have the
hell
same
out of
quarterback coach.
it. Well, that
They
that's
work out together.
that's bad. I mean, that's just you just play a half and then sit out. Either play the whole damn game or don't play at all. But
Don't play at all.
I guess that's you know I do think that's one of the things. I'm not the biggest Deion Sanders fan, but the guy obviously, he's a Hall of Famer. Was a good college player, great NFL player. He respects the game of football, and that's why he made his kids play in that game. You know what I mean? The kid,
Well,
I
yeah, I
was
mean,
shocked when you told me he
and
was going to.
well, yeah, I
He's
mean,
not going to have
and
one
if
of his
anybody has
kids
any,
just sitting out in a game.
yeah,
What's
and he
that?
did it the right way. He did it the right way. He did something. He had the university give like an insurance policy, which I like that actually. I think there should be insurance for the players, the guys that are draft eligible. I think that's a good thing. Because they should have some protection in case they get hurt in a game. You know what I mean? Because they're one game away from making it to lifetime money. You know what I mean? Money they've never had.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that, the insurance policy. I know some people don't, but I do. But also, if anybody had an excuse not to play this game, it was Travis Hunter. Not only does
Yeah.
he's an House number one overall pick and he's an Heisman Trophy winner, but he also has the stuff off the field as well. That is, you know, I pray for the young man. But I say young, we're almost the same age, but I pray for him. But he still went out there and played because the respect he has for his coach, and like you said, it's a mentality that he's installed there. You're going to go out and play, so it's a respect of the game.
Well, I'm sure
But
there was a big bonus for winning that bowl game too.
uh,
For
we didn't
Dion.
get that. But moving on. But so Cam Ward's off my board. I don't think Shador's coming here. Jackson Dart, really talented kid. He has a lot of starts like Bo Nix did. I like Jackson Dart's talent, but he didn't win a lot of big games. Didn't play well with big moments at times. And I also saw him on a podcast a couple years ago. Talk about he wants to be the next Bachelor. I don't know. You want the next
Gosh.
Bachelor? Do you want
Nope.
that jersey? Yeah, he's
Do
on there
not.
talking about. He was talking about how Utah girls are better than California. As soon as I hear that stuff, I'm like, okay, we don't need that. Um, Will Howard is a name that's trending. I think if Will Howard actually continues to play well in the playoffs and maybe wins the national championship, if he can keep building off of what he did the last game, I think Will Howard's draft stock will go up. I mean, he's got NFL size, 6'5", 230, big kid. Um, Now, will he be a good NFL quarterback? I don't know. I think he's a guy that's got to go to the right place, the right system. Will Howard's interesting. I mean, he's an interesting late round pick if you wanted to add one. I think he'd be okay. I think there's upside there, stuff you can work with. But Carson Beck, no thanks. He was a guy that was supposed to be the guy going into the year and completely fell off the radar and had a down year. And his decision making. What do you think, Carson Beck?
No.
Yeah, no thanks.
No, he's
Yeah,
I've watched enough Georgia games that this guy's just so unpredictable and
yeah. There's
throwing
some stuff
picks.
there too on the outside of football. I'm good on Carson Beck. Uh, I'm not Carson Beck. Quinn Ewers probably isn't coming out, but if Quinn Ewers did come out, Quinn Ewers, you know what Quinn Ewers is? I heard somebody say this, and I thought it was a great analogy, which was Quinn Ewers is a kid that has the great batting. He's the guy that has the perfect batting swing, but strikes out all the time.
Yeah.
That's what he is. He probably shouldn't come out. So Quinn Ewers, that's a strike there. I'm not taking him. Who else? Is there anybody else I'm missing? Quinn Ewers. Who's the other quarterbacks coming out? I mean, if I can't even think of them off the top of my head, that means it's probably not even worth talking about. But no
Right.
disrespect. But, Dylan Gabriel,
Yeah.
left-handed, too small. I don't see that. Jalen Milrow,
No. I
uh,
don't know.
athletic guy. He comes from a military background. I like some of his upside, but I just don't think Jalen Milrow, his play style. I don't know if he could stay healthy in an NFL career. He's kind of like Anthony Richardson, same thing. Got to get hurt. He's not like Lamar Jackson. Not as talented, not as elusive, not as he's not. Do you think Jalen Milrow is Lamar Jackson? I mean, he's an impressive athlete, can move for his size, but do you think he's Lamar?
No. If
Yeah, I don't
Jalen
either.
Milrow wasn't in Alabama, nobody talk about him. It's just because he
Yeah, probably
plays
not.
Alabama. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean he's going to be a good NFL quarterback.
Well, some people think because his OC's here, Tommy Reese. If we make Tommy Reese the OC, make Jalen Milrow the quarterback, then maybe. But I'm like, it's not
Yeah,
college
who
number
says
one, and
Tommy
I just.
Reese wants Jalen Milrow just because he?
Oh, I agree. Um,
I just seen enough of
yeah.
Jalen
So in
Milrow that
terms of
says no,
he's not an NFL quarterback. Yeah, I agree.
no,
He's not. I don't. He makes me. He did get better though. I like the kid a lot. I think he's the one kid. If he gets in the right situation, maybe he could. He just has the right mentality and stuff. He's a good kid, but I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't see. I think it's too big of a risk for the Browns to take. The Browns aren't in a situation to be taking Jalen Milrose and stuff like. You know what I mean? That's not going to fix the problem they have. They need a legit guy to come in here and they can build around him. You know what I mean? They don't. The Brown. What do you think of the people saying the Browns almost like we're looking for game managers? I don't think the Browns should be looking for a game manager.
No,
Do you?
no, should not be looking for a game manager. Here, they need to. Here, I don't.
I'm just gonna say if you're looking for a game manager, mediocrity is your excellence. You should always be looking for the best. That's a cultural.
You're not
That's
gonna.
a mentality. That's a cultural mindset. You know what I mean? You should always be looking for the best, either via trade or you should just be settling with, oh, maybe this guy can work.
Here, that's. I've only seen a few teams win Super Bowls with game managers, and it's only been a few. Trent Dilfer and Doug Williams with the fucking Redskins back in the 80s. You don't see it often. I mean, I'd probably say Phil Simms was one of the better game managers, but you don't see that often. So I mean, if you're just like, yeah, I just want to get a game I want a game manager to be to play in the most important position in all sports. I want a game manager. You know what I mean? You got to be an absolute idiot to think that way. I mean, that's just crazy. It's like saying, okay, my ace and my bullpen, or my ace, my starting pitcher. I want that son of a bitch to not be able to throw over 70 miles an hour. You know what I mean? And have no, you know what I mean? Just have command 75% of the time. I mean, that's just crazy.
Here's the last 10 quarterbacks that won Super Bowls in the last 10 years. Starting in 2014, Seattle with Russell Wilson. Is Russell Wilson a game manager, especially at that point in his career to you?
No.
New England, was Tom Brady a game manager?
Hell no.
I get he was old, but was Peyton Manning ever at one point in his career, was he a game manager? Was it that year? I mean, he was old as last year's career, but he was still Peyton Manning. Tom Brady again. Now, Nick Foles, they won that one year, the one miraculous run. He was probably a game manager.
Yeah.
But do you think that was maybe just a one-off thing, maybe, that every now and then you get a team that just hits the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's usually when that happens. I mean, there's something else that's really winning the games. It's not necessarily that quarterback.
Do you think the Browns could ever do that, duplicate that?
No, and I don't. You can't have a game. You can't have a game manager in that division.
Do you think they can? But I'm saying, could this regime duplicate that? Do you think?
No, hell no, not a chance in hell. I mean, they're doing the total opposite. They could have a Hall of Fame quarterback sitting there, and we'd still be losing games.
Yeah, I agree. Tom Brady again. Is Patrick Mahomes a game manager to you?
No.
Matt Stafford with Hall of Fame talent, was he a game manager? Matt Stafford?
Nope.
Mahomes again, and then last year, Mahomes, they won by 3. That Super Bowl last year. You know who he beat?
Last year? Yeah.
It was Brock Purdy. He's a game manager, right?
So far, he's been a game manager. Hasn't shown anything else. He looked kind of shitty in that game.
Yeah, how many throws did Brock Purdy miss last year in that game that cost him that Super Bowl?
A shitload.
Yeah, that's why you don't draft game managers or even sign them. And Brock Purdy's available. I'm out on him too. He ain't gonna do well in Cleveland. Sorry. He said, hold on, I'm gonna catch up on some of these comments here, and I got one more thing we'll close out with tonight. He said, I thought that stunt by Ward was selfish. Yeah. I don't like any of the quarterbacks coming out. He has all the intangibles. Talking about JJ McCarthy. He has all the intangibles to lead a team. Was outstanding at Michigan. Has it all: leadership, arm strength, poise, intellect, feel for the game. I totally agree. I know you like that comment, Jersey. I hope we can get Justin Fields.
I think JJ McCarthy.
I think Fields would be a good bridge quarterback for a year. I don't think he'll leave Pittsburgh though. I don't know why would he leave. I want a football junkie in the QB room, not people obsessed with a reference sex addiction, addiction, and a guy who can't play in the league in DTR. Yeah, we have the worst quarterback room in the league. No on Milrow, no on Ewers. None of these QBs will make it. Yeah, I agree. I think Shador possibly could, but I think there's a good chance they all bust. If you had to bet that 3 guys in this draft class succeed or they all bust, which one would you bet?
Which ones did
Probably
I
they all
bet
bust.
that will bust?
No, would you
I
say
don't think
would you
Shador
would you had
Sanders
to
is
make
going
a
to be a bust.
but I'm saying if you had to
What's that?
bet that if you had to bet that just 3 guys in this class, maybe even 2 will actually succeed or they all just bust, which one would you take? What's the
I
higher
still
probability?
don't,
I think it's a bigger probability they bust.
that they all bust.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, even you could see Travis Hunter becoming a bust. I mean, he's all the crazy shit going on around him. I mean,
Nah, not
I'd
by
say
talent.
bust. Yeah, not by talent, but I mean, you just see it all the time. Super talented people get their head cases, and I'd say the same thing. Yeah, I think you always have to lean towards the bust. You know what I mean? It's just so hard in the NFL. I mean, it's so hard at the
Yeah.
next level. So I
Well,
think
so
you
many
would
things
always
have
have
to go
to.
right too.
Yeah, I mean, you would always really. I think they have greater chances of being a bust than not being a bust. Always, it's always that way. So,
Um, what do you fellas think of Penn State quarterback Drew Aller? I think Drew Aller could actually have if he keeps developing. Now, I didn't bring him up because he's going back to Penn State for one more year, which I think is a smart decision for him. I watched Drew Aller play in high school at Medina High. I thought he was really impressive. He was an elite 11 guy. I like his size. I like his arm strength. I think if he has a good year next year and gets better and develops in a lot of areas, I think he could be a definitely first round pick next year. Uh, I like Drew Aller, the quarterback. I think he's got a lot of upside. I think he's still got to get better in a lot of areas. I don't know if he's in the right position to develop though. At Penn State, I don't know what quarterback they've ever really developed. Um, but I think if he has one more good off season and come back next year in college and really light it up, I think he'll definitely be a first round pick. I mean, what do you think of Drew Aller?
well, he certainly has the size, and I mean, when I saw him in high school, he kind of reminded me of what's the name in Buffalo, but
Josh Allen.
yeah, I mean, absolutely. Well, or Drew Aller he's got a chance to make the NFL, and I'd say he has a chance to be successful in the NFL. I mean, he's got the God given attributes that he needs. So do they just stay in college another year, improve, and then hopefully land with the right organization. That's the key. Just get with the right organization. So,
What about Daniel Jones? He's still better than DTR. Could get him for nothing. Bridge QB till we get JJ in a trade. Hey, it would be maybe not a bad bridge option. Maybe I would just keep him as a bridge though. I wouldn't sign him long term. I don't think he's worth that. But I mean, yeah, it could be a
well,
name. I mean,
we're just one more loss away from getting JJ McCarthy in a trade. I mean, we'd get him in a trade in the offseason.
yeah,
You know what I mean. So we don't need anyone else. I mean, that's somebody's getting McCarthy this offseason.
right. Yeah, they got to
Hopefully, it's
trade him.
us.
I hope so too. Very hard to make it at QB in the NFL, especially if you got to go to the wrong team. Yeah, totally. I would not mind Daniel Jones as a backup. Um, Last thing we're going to close with tonight, going back to Myles Garrett, and you guys in the comments he made last week about how he was wanting to sit down with the ownership and the people at top management, wanting to know what their plan is. When he was asked about that again this week, again last Friday, a week later since after he made those comments, did anybody in ownership sit down with him, and what's his mindset still? And so here's Myles Garrett Friday in a short clip here about what happened since then, and anybody approach him, and who he's spoken to, which I think is kind of key. So here's what Miles had to say.
You know, I mean, he's seen everything on the sports side of it, and his advice has been very valuable. Him, his team, and just being able to be around them and learn from them has been very useful these last couple of years, and there have been more along the way, but definitely using my platform, using my voice to my benefit and to my team's benefit has been crucial.
Appreciate it.
A few.
You feel any better about things?
I mean, we still have room for discussion at the end of the year as well.
Do you think your teammates like
an early version of discussion? I just wanted to see where my head was at and what I was thinking, and just trying to keep things in house.
29?
So the first part there, hold on, let me turn this off my ear. So the first part there, he talks about how he spoke to LeBron. Obviously, Miles is a Clutch client, and I've been telling you guys in this show, we've been telling you, both you and I have been telling people that you should take what he says very seriously because of who he's with. We know how they roll. They operate a certain way. They want to get stuff done. They want to leave and move somewhere. They will make sure it gets done. He spoke to LeBron James, and LeBron talked to him about, probably a lot of ways he would move and operate, and we know how that would be. I think, so I think Miles is making it known where his mindset is, and then he was also asked there, did anybody come approach you? And he said, yeah, a couple people. And then he said, we still have room for more talks at the end of the year. I thought basically what he was saying was, because the guy asked him, did anything change your mind? Doesn't sound like it did. Whoever talked to him, whatever they said to him or showed him or asked him, they didn't really change his mind or convince him of anything, or didn't sound like there's any optimism there either. It was just, I was bad. That basically what he was saying there was, they got a couple more opportunities to talk to me. They want to change my mind. I think his mind's already set what he might have to do. And at the end there, like you said, we'll keep things in house, but there's room for a lot more discussions. And I think a lot of his teammates backed him up. And you heard what Denzel Ward said. I'm gonna look over his shoulder and see what the plan is they present him. Basically giving away like, yeah, I want to take a look too. You hear what Joel Bitonio said. I don't want to play with another organization, but I'm not going to. But if it's basically going to come down to, do I want to come back and sacrifice my body for another year, or am I just going to have to retire because I don't believe in what we're doing? And so I think Miles is set, is kind of started a charge amongst the players in the locker room, which I love. I think it's what's needed. If these guys upstairs don't want to listen and take it seriously, or just think they know what they're talking about, when everybody knows what the problem is, and I have no problem with Miles to number one, and I like the players backing him up. And there's more players in that locker room that totally agree with Miles 100% more than you think. And I think too, the way that he said that there about, talking to LeBron and there's room for more discussions. I think Miles is really leaning on getting out of here. I think he does not see anything right now that's changing his mind, and I don't see it either. If he don't see it, then we definitely don't see it. I mean, it's pretty sad that we're going to let this guy walk out of the organization, because I'm really curious what changes he wants to make, would want to make. What would Myles Garrett want to do? What would some of these other guys, what do they see that they think needs to be done? We'll probably never know it, but unless they make it, put it out somehow, which I wouldn't mind, put pressure on these guys. But I mean, what would Myles Garrett really want done? Who does he want back? Who does he not like at the front office? Or not say who does he not like, but I mean, I'm sure there'd be some structural changes he probably would make, or in philosophical changes, which he kind of made known. He did make known about what kind of offense they really should have, and more of a run game offense, chewing the clock and stuff like that, which they do not do. They completely abandoned that. So, your thoughts, Jersey, on what Myles Garrett had to say?
Well, I think the fact that he's talking about it means that he doesn't want to leave. I mean, he says that, but I think it's actually true. Will he leave? Yeah. It's twofold. The fact that he's saying it out loud because he's hoping to God that they'll listen, and because he doesn't want to have to make that decision to leave. You know what I mean? So, because if he wasn't talking at all,
he doesn't want to be portrayed as the bad guy either.
Well, yeah, but right. I mean, if he had already made his mind up that he was leaving, he wouldn't even be talking about it. You know what I mean? So he just doesn't want to be in that, have to make that decision, but he's prepared to make that decision. And here, listen to Rich Paul and LeBron. If you watch what they've done now for 20 years, I mean, I don't know if there's anybody better at leveraging the teams or hell, even the whole damn league to get what they want. You know what I mean? So he's probably just getting advice there. There's that person for clutch in the front office. So he's doing what he's got to do. I mean, the dude's put the work in. He's been there for a while now, and if I like the idea of guys trying to leverage the organization for the betterment of everybody else. For the opportunity to win. You know what I mean? So,
well, I think it goes by situation, but in this situation, it's definitely necessary.
well, yeah, it is. It is necessary. I mean, and Miles is a pretty. He's probably one of the. I bet I would venture to say he's probably one of the most respected players in football amongst his peers. You know what I mean? Just the way he upholds himself and his body of work, and if you listen to what other players say about him, I mean, that guy could end up being the head of the players' union, or he's just one of those guys. So I think a lot of people, just like Denzel Ward saying that, guys look to him for direction, and that just tells you what kind of leader he is too. So here, somebody's got to do it. He might be the voice of the players. I mean, there might be this. You never know. These players might start to kind of revolt a little bit, or they are revolting, and he's the guy that's going to lead the charge.
I'm right behind him. No,
Yeah, somebody. I mean, it's good to see that. I mean, it means they care.
Well, yeah, because when you got this guy coming out saying we're going to run it back, we're not changing anything. I mean, it's kind of like it's a slap in the face, really, to the fans, to the players. I mean, to the guys like Myles Garrett. Like, we're not going to change anything. We're just going to run it back.
Yeah, I'm just.
We're gonna roll the dice on a rookie in a terrible draft class.
I mean, as you're saying that, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, how in the hell has Jimmy Haslam and D. Podesta not come out and talk? They won't even talk. They won't even do a press conference after next week. I mean, for this to be going on,
he'll come out here. Haslam will come out here next week after they get pounded by the Ravens, and he'll talk about, we're going to run it back with Kevin, and we want continuity, and we don't want to be known as people that fire people all the time, and it's all about them and building their stadium and their perception, and oh my gosh, we're just a quarterback away, and it's all the same bullshit.
We can't say that. They can't say that we're a quarterback away.
Oh, I guarantee they're gonna come out next week and they're gonna defend all this and just say it was a bad season and blah blah blah, and we're gonna run.
Well,
we trust in Paul, we trust in D. Podesta, we trust in Jimmy Haslam, and we trust in Kevin Stefanski's because he's won 2-time Coach of the Year and they actually got to the playoff and all this crap. And they're gonna run it back and they're gonna defend it and they're gonna say make these guys out better than what they really are. And it's like advertising a pile of shit. Yeah, I mean, it stinks and it's not good. It doesn't look good. Like, change it.
Right.
Sorry for my rant. What were you gonna say?
Well, I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I went off the rails because I could just see it. I could see it already. They're gonna come out because if they're telling people that at the meeting. Now, if he comes out next week and shocks the whole world and says, "Hey, we just cleaned house, we fired everybody," I'm gonna come up here myself and applaud and say, "Congrats, Jimmy Haslam, for actually doing the right thing," and I'll be all behind him again. But if he comes out there next week and just defends this and we're gonna run it back and blah blah blah, I mean, that is just terrible. The fans should have another parade outside the state. I mean, not even a protest. I mean, just like something to make their voice known. You cannot keep going with this. You're wasting people's time, the fans' time. I mean, what do you think the fans should do if they come out next week and say that?
Just do nothing. Don't nothing. Just don't show up. Nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
I'm
it.
not saying actually go protest in front of stadium. I'm saying like with
No parades,
protest
no
by. I'm saying
nothing.
protest by your actions.
Yeah, just
Don't buy apparel, don't buy tickets. And you saw the ticket prices for the stadium. The alleged for the new stadium, right? The alleged prices. Who
oh
the hell's
yeah.
paying that?
Well, you go buy apparel, you just go buy a different team's apparel. That's what they
Hmm.
should do. I mean, they should just literally just abandon the Browns. That's what they've lived off the greatest fan base in the world all this time and taken advantage of them and just we can just still put a terrible product out because they're still going to come. We're still going to make the money. So I mean, it needs to get to like every other city. If this is what every other city, if this is what they were putting out, you see it. You go to you see the games on TV. The fucking stands are empty.
We'd be
You've
fired by
never seen that in Cleveland.
but the
So
other cities they'd be fired by now.
I'd love to see just empty seats up in Cleveland. You know what I mean? And maybe they'll start to, people stop buying apparel and
Yeah, stop spending your hard-earned money on people that don't really care about you.
all right,
That's basically what they're telling you. They think we're all dumb and we're just gonna buy into whoever they put out there, and it's gonna be another disappointment. It's gonna be something that lets you down again, and it's the same hoopla every year. It's all an illusion. They just portray they put out there every year to advertise. It's gonna be a failure. Um, but they think we're dumb. They think fans are dumb, and they're just capitalizing money off of you. And so don't spend money on people that think you're dumb. And don't. I mean that they're the ones that are really making the dumb decisions based on what the results they put out there. Clearly, they don't know what they're doing. Um, but yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Don't buy money, or don't, excuse me, don't spend money on them. Don't buy apparel. Don't buy season tickets. Don't even talk about
right.
them. Just talk about the Cavs. Maybe talk about Ohio State winning a national championship. Hopefully, talk about the Guardians. Hopefully, spending money someday. And, and just stick to that. Don't
Yeah,
spend money on organizations like the Cavs that treat their fans with first class. Number one, I mean, look at the stadiums and how Dan Gilbert's the Cavs fan experience has always been great. But they're all in on winning and competing for a championship and trying to put a good result in Cleveland and deliver to and they're invested in the city too. He's invested a lot of money in the city. It's so I mean, look at this beautiful state of the art practice facility they're building and all the stuff he's invested downtown. I mean, go put your money on them. You know what I mean, how many jerseys do you think kids opened up on Christmas Day at Browns this year? Probably the lowest it's ever been in 25 years.
no, I agree. I
It's got
agree.
to be. I
A
think
lot
those
of
memes
money.
going around, the memes going around, kids open up the Browns tickets or the jerseys, their kids are just crying.
Right.
It's the worst Christmas ever.
I'd
But
rather go back to school.
yeah, they'd rather go. Yeah, so just buy them a school uniform. But well, guys, we wish we could come up here and talk to you about some more optimistic things with the Browns, but it is what it is. Before we get out of here, real quick, who do you got winning the game? Ohio State, Oregon. Who do you got winning?
We got Ohio State winning. Like I said, I'm gonna stick with what I said a couple weeks ago. I told some guys at work if Ohio State responded after that Michigan debacle and the way they did respond, I felt like if they responded and won that, they had to win that game. If they won that game, they're gonna win national championship. So
What score you got?
what score do I have?
When they played earlier this year, it was 32-31. What do you got this time?
I could see. I don't know, probably like maybe a similar score. I'm gonna say I could see like 34 to 24.
I'm gonna say Ohio State wins 42-35.
I mean that's not far fetched.
And I'm gonna say Travion Henderson pops one at the end for them to win it, like a dagger.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that. I think it's gonna be kind of similar to when we played Alabama back in 15. So I think this team reminds me of that team in a lot. I hope, but I do see some similarities. Now they may not. They could fall flat and shit the bed and lose, but I got them winning 42-35. I like that. But it should be a great day though with games. I mean, I know we'll be
Oh,
watching
yeah.
games all day, so 'cause everybody's off. It's New Year's, so that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But well, go Cavs, by the way, too. Big win the other night. I know Jersey, you're starting to watch them more. We're going to get into some more Cavs content here down the road. For all my Cavs people that are hitting me up, say, do more Cavs talk content. When are you going to talk? We're going to talk more Cavs. We're going to talk more Cavs. We're going to, Jersey's watching them more. I know you've been highly impressed, obviously. Who isn't? So we're going to do more Cavs content. We'll have the college football playoffs coverage as well. And also on this channel, we're going to have the fix or the professional fan. I believe the professional fan will be live tomorrow night. So stay tuned for that. Listen to Mike. He's going to talk about all things Browns. So that'd be interesting to hear that. Should be some good stuff there. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Right, Jersey?
Like, subscribe, share. Keep on doing it.
Yeah. It's free. It's real simple. It's just a tap of a button. Just hit subscribe. That's all.
Yeah. If you think he's doing, if you think he's doing a good job, just hit share or like or subscribe. Why not? That's what I would do. I think I'm just like everybody else. So it's like giving a good review.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you guys in the next one. We're out of here.
Happy New Year. Everybody stay safe.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Go.